Are you a mystic seeking direct spiritual experiences yourself? Well, I'm a mystic. I call myself the creative mystic. I'm Deepa Liu. And like I said, I call myself the creative mystic. And a creative mystic is somebody who is looking for those direct experiences themselves and using their creativity to help themselves grow spiritually. Because what I have found from my own life experience is that it wasn't until I got into expressing my creativity of wanting to create these spirit guides that my gifts began to open up and grow and blossom. And so in this sacred time, this sacred art studio time that I'm sharing with you, this is all about helping you to have the experience that you desire as a spiritual seeker, seeking those direct experiences of spirit in many forms, because spirit shows up for me as spirit guides in different forms, as, God, Buddha, Allah. I call myself also a Buddhist yogi because I've been, when I got to the spiritual path, I started with Buddhism and then went to being a yogi and realized there's oneness in all. So I'm an interfaith minister. So I look at all the oneness in all the spiritual paths, those threads of truth that are, in all the different spiritual paths that you can see reflected in different words, maybe, but you can see that the truth is there. So welcome to this sacred space. And it's not about the sacred space just here in my art studio, but the sacred space in your place where you are right now. And I like people to understand it's not just about the physical space, but your inner space. How do we help your sacred space within you grow spiritually, to develop your spiritual gifts? And that's one of the things why Archangel Gabriel and the Flying Horse wanted me to do these lives as I created them, was because he was saying that it's about miracles, anything you didn't think could ever happen, that you didn't believe could happen, and that all things are possible. But how do we help you create your sacred space within yourself? Yes, your environment that you're in is important. In fact, I'm going to be doing some videos on that, pre-recorded videos on that. But your inner space, how do you cultivate that? Now, if you're live, please give a shout out who you are, your name, and where you're from. And the reason why I have people do that when they get on live is because you just never know. I've done different spiritual classes on Zoom and here on YouTube, and sometimes someone says I'm from this city and this state, and someone else is from that city and that state. So this is about how can we create community, so that we can connect with more like-minded souls. Because as we create that community and we get with other like-minded souls, even if it's through, like what we're doing here, the internet, through a camera, there is a synergy effect, what I call a synergy effect. And that synergy effect is when we bring a collective of people together, our energies come together. And if we're having the aspiration to have a higher spiritual consciousness, we're helping to strengthen that not only in ourselves, but in the world. And so I really want to help people do that. Christopher, thank you. Yes, Las Vegas. Thank you so much for showing up, Christopher. So shout out to you, Christopher. And so as we move forward, today I've got to work. Well, we'll see where it goes, because I've been feeling like I'm supposed to work some on the flying horse, but I also got something maybe with the wings. We'll see how much time we have. All right. And we're going to start creating the sacred space right now by ringing the bell that I always like to ring. And this comes from a tradition in India where when they ring the bell, when they enter a space, their home, a temple, they ring that bell to say, like, hello, God. Well, we're going to say hello to Archangel Gabriel and the Flying Horse. Hello, Mary Helen. Thank you. And also from New Jersey, thank you for giving a shout out, because I love to see where you guys are from. New Jersey is not too far from me. I don't know where. I'm in Pennsylvania. So, in fact, I used to live in Bucks County, went over to New Jersey all the time when I lived there. But let's just take that moment now. And if you're on here, we're going to ring this bell. And when you hear it, I don't know how much the streaming service lets come through. But if you happen to have your own bell, get your own bell and ring it as I'm ringing mine, because that ringing of the bell that vibration, when you feel it, starts to change the vibration of your own body, your own mind, your own consciousness, especially when you invite in Archangel Gabriel. All right, so let's ring this bell. Hello, Archangel Gabriel. Hello, the flying horse. We invite in thy presence, thy energy, thy blessings, thy transformation. We invite in this sacred energy of Archangel Gabriel and the flying horse into this sacred studio, and also into your sacred space of your home or your office or wherever you are at this moment. But we also invite this sacred space in, enter our own body, mind, and soul to awaken the higher consciousness, the blessings from Archangel Gabriel and the flying horse. And just do a prayer of intention of welcoming in the spirit guide of Archangel Gabriel and of the flying horse. One last ring. And I'm going to turn around, and as usual, we're going to light the ghee lamp. So if you have a ghee lamp or a candle, you can light the candle in your sacred space, because light, fire is one of the biggest transformational energies. Think about fire, how it can take a piece of wood or paper and turn it to ash. So in lighting this, doing a prayer of intention, of invoking Archangel Gabriel and the flying horse into this canvas, awakening their vibration, their blessings, their energy, so that all who see this portal, this spirit guide portal, feel the blessings and the guidance from Archangel Gabriel and the flying horse. Om. 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 Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarikabandhanat Micho Mokshamamritat. Om. Om Bo. Om Bobaha. Om Swaha. Om Maha. Om Janaha. Om Tapaha. Om Satyam. Om Tatsavitur Vadinyam Bargo Devasya Dimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayat. Om. And then I'm going to bring in the Palo Santo to clear out any negative energies and to invite in more of the spiritual high vibration. And if you notice, as we create this environment here within the studio and into your place, how we're inviting in by using the different senses. You know, we have these 5 senses that we use to live in the world: our sense of sight, our sense of smell, our sense of hearing, sense of touch. And think about it. This here, we're going to bring the ghee lamp to you that you can get the blessings from the angels that are in this and the transformative, the Palo Santo to bless you, to bless your space. Remembering it's the inner space of yourself and your outer space of your environment. Yeah. So Archangel Gabriel wanted me to share a little bit before I started painting about the importance of your inner space. He was really talking about that's the big miracle, and that people keep trying to change the outer, in their life because of something that they're not happy with. I'm curious if anybody has anything in their life that you're not happy with at the moment. And don't feel bad. I don't know anybody who's happy 100% with every little thing in their life. Maybe your relationship's really good, but you wish you made more money. Or maybe a relationship and you making the money you want, but you wish you were healthier. There's usually something, okay? And so Archangel Gabriel was coming to me saying how at the beginning, because I always sit and meditate a little before we start, so that, when I'm getting on with you guys, that I already kind of have a little bit of tuning in with Archangel Gabriel. And he was saying that, everybody tries to change the outer, and really what you want to focus on is trying to change the inner first. And it's that miracle of something that maybe you have an emotional wound, or you just see a habit that you've been doing that has not been serving you, and you feel like this is never going to change. Anybody ever feel that way? I'd love to see it if you have something like that in the chat, in the comments, because Archangel Gabriel is really making that known. Like, I want you to talk about the inner environment a little bit today before you start painting, because painting is a very outward thing, right? It's very physical, and the inner is not always so easy to change, right? We see ourselves doing things, but doing the same habitual thing over and knowing it's not serving us. It's like someone who smokes and they know, oh, it's not healthy for me, but they keep doing it anyway, right? And so he wanted us to talk about that. Oh, great, Christopher. Thanks for sharing. Sure, yes, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that acknowledgement of saying, yes, you have something is what Archangel Gabriel is saying is the first step in actually changing it, especially when it comes to inner, because you have to acknowledge the inner consciousness belief, because all our consciousness reside at a certain level, and it's because of our beliefs, the way we look at life, those beliefs about how we think life works, what we think is possible, what we think about ourselves. So if you think that you're not good at something, then of course you won't be good at it. And of course you'll probably if you're not good at something, most people avoid it when they don't think they're good at something. And so he's saying that inner landscape, that inner environment is what you want to become aware of first. And the first step is to acknowledge that you have something. Now, if you can be specific, he says that's better. Now, if you don't know specifically what it is, but you just know, like, if your life isn't where you want it to be, he's saying then you have some inner consciousness shifts that you need to have. Hey, Roger A., thanks for coming, and thank you for announcing yourself. So he's really talking about that. And if you don't want to put it up in the comments, he says that's fine. He goes, but acknowledge it to yourself right now. He's like, what's the one inner belief or habit that you have? Like, here's the big one. He's telling me right now to share this one, because this is a habit a lot of people has. He says the habit to look at what you don't like rather than what you like, or what you haven't done rather than what you've done. He says that's one of the biggest consciousness shifts, that if people could change that, it would transform your life. It would transform your consciousness, to change the habit of looking at what you don't like or don't want or what's lacking, to what you do have, what you do like, what you do want. Anybody have that habit? Christopher says, amen. Thank you, Archangel Gabriel. Yes. So, so really think about that. And what he's asking you to do between now and the next time we meet next week is to practice noticing, because as he says, the first step is just at a level of awareness. He's saying to practice noticing when you're talking about what you don't want rather than what you want. What you're looking at, what you don't like rather than what you like. And looking at what's like at the end of your day, like you get done with your day and you focus on the 3 things you didn't do or the 5 things you did do. And if you looked at the things you didn't do, he wants you to look at the 5 things you did do. He says by retraining your brain to do this, that is one of the biggest consciousness shifts that will help you to connect and to receive higher guidance, because you're becoming more expansive by looking at what you desire. Because he's saying anytime when we look at what we don't want, we're in lack consciousness. We're on the, remember, I think I've said this before, you are either expanding or contracting. Well, he's saying when you look at what you don't want, you're contracting. When you look at what you do want or what you have done or what you do like, you're expanding. So that's what he really wants everybody to do. Oh, you're welcome, Christopher. Oh, good for you, Roger. Yes, what's going good for you? You want to look at that. That's definitely what you've been doing. So somehow you got the same vibration of Archangel Gabriel before you even got on. And Mary Helen, striving to maintain an attitude of gratitude. Yes, what he's saying as I read that, Mary Helen, is that the attitude of gratitude comes easier when you focus on what you have done, what you do want, what you do like. He says it'll just come more naturally. You won't struggle striving. You'll just go, oh. So the first step, he said, is just notice when you're on the contractive side of looking at what you don't want, don't like, don't have, haven't done. Okay. And then shift. So if you catch your mind doing it, he's saying, if you're saying like, oh, I don't like this thing, or, or I didn't get very much done in the day, but you really did get some things done. And he's saying, even if, let's say you had a list of 10 things you wanted to get done in the day, or 5 things, okay? And you had 5 things, but you only got 1 done. And you go, oh, look at all those things I didn't do. He says, he still wants you to look at the one you did do. He goes, because by doing that, you'll see that you're starting to accomplish more in each day. Is that making sense? Does anybody have any questions about that? Because I wasn't expecting him to give you like a little exercise for the week, but that's what he wanted me to give you guys. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to, like, if you have any questions, or that if you're, what he wants me to ask you to do is, are you committed to giving this a go, practicing this over the next week? So I'd love to see the comments in there. Also, I wanted to make that normal. So this is right with that change. Yes, Christopher, most people are rather than thriving, they're what? Surviving, right? People talk about, oh, I'm a survivor. And I'm like, we don't want to be survivors. We want to be thrivers. We want to be thriving in our life, right? Don't you all want that? Don't you all want to thrive? Yes, Christopher, yeah. I know I want to thrive. And so when we get in that place of not, like if you didn't sleep well or something, and you get on that contractive side, you have to consciously make that intention. Remember, I talk about that, your intention, your prayer intention, because that's what a prayer really is. It's an intention. You are also asking, maybe in the idea of, I'm ready to receive. But the intention that you make is where your attention will be going. And when your attention goes, to something, energy flows where attention goes. And so you have to continually be willing to go, oh, I've got my attention on the wrong place. Let me put it back on what I desire, what I like. And that way the energy will start flowing there. And it's Archangel Gabriel is saying it's one of the biggest reasons why people don't believe miracles can happen. And again, he wants me to redefine a miracle for you, or define it. That a miracle is anything that you have thought was impossible, that you didn't think you could do it, that you think it was possible in the world, that he wants you to start getting that all things are possible. When you are connected to spirit, to God, to the angels, to the spirit guides, all things are possible. You will not necessarily know the how, is what he's telling me now, but it is possible, okay? The way it becomes manifest form is your persistence, he's saying, on being keeping your attention on what you desire, on the expansive side of the equation. So let me read your thing, Marilyn. Yes, Mary Helen, it's very good. When she said energy flows where attention goes, when she's feeling negative, she has to intentionally start listing what she's grateful for, and that's a good practice. Kudos to you, Mary Helen, for doing that, because that you're catching yourself first of all, and then two, you're going, okay, I'm powerful, and that's the thing. Archangel Gabriel and the Flying Horse wants you to get, as you are a powerful being, powerful beyond measure. And we forget it constantly. I know I do. I have to come to my spirit guides and they remind me, if I'm having a not such a great day, or if something happens that makes me feel not so great, then I'm like, okay, I'm aware I'm here, let me move over. But my spirit guides can help when I go get guidance from them of what to do that will shift me more immediately. And that's where I talk about the spirit guides. Why I find they're so amazing is that they help us to come from higher guidance, higher consciousness guidance, when we're not in that place. When you can at least have the foresight to go, let me check in with the spirit guides. Let me put my energy for that direct experience. As a mystic, a spiritual seeker who wants that direct experience, I'm going to make that intention to connect with spirit, with higher power, so I can get some guidance on how to shift this. So just a positive reinforcement and shift awareness focus. Well, it definitely is a shift awareness focus. Not sure what you mean by positive reinforcement. It's not just positive thinking, but it is about the belief of knowing that you're this powerful being. Does that make sense, Christopher? Or to anybody else? Because a lot of times people will try to talk themselves into positive thinking, and they don't really get the spiritual truth behind it. When you understand Yogananda, okay, he has different kind of scientific healing affirmations, and when he talks about his affirmations, he says you want to understand it from the point of the spiritual truth that's behind it, and then it becomes more powerful. He has you say it out loud, at a whisper, and silently, so you're affecting all three levels of your consciousness, because you have the subconscious, conscious, and superconscious minds, and so you affect all three of them that way. But he's always said, and I find it very true, when you actually understand the spiritual truth that's underneath it, that the spiritual law, and you start to really be able to apply it in your life, when you have the shift to contractiveness, which because something happened, you can shift back quicker, because you can start to go, oh wait, I forgot the spiritual truth. Here it is. And one is we're a powerful being, powerful beyond measure. The other one's like law of cause and effect. So my cause, when I'm thinking, I'm making a cause. Let me shift my thoughts, because I want to make a different cause. Because when I first got on the spiritual path, I used to think the causes were everything I did, what I'm doing. And I did a lot of things. And yes, I manifested a lot of things. But I had to work really hard to manifest those lot of things, because I was using only my doing rather than just my consciousness. And as I grew spiritually, I started to realize the first point is to shift my consciousness, then take a congruent action, a congruent doing. Thank you, Christopher, for the feedback. Yes. You have the audiobook of Autobiography of Yogi. Yeah. He doesn't talk in there about the scientific healing affirmations. The scientific healing affirmations is a little book. I don't know if you're talking about that, but it's a little book I have. In fact, you know what? Let me go grab it and show it to you so you guys can see it. I'm right here getting it, because I want you, just because in case you want to get it, it's a good little book. You can find it online. See, scientific healing affirmations, and he talks a lot about the different affirmations that he created, and he created them because he infused in there healing power, healing energy. So Roger says, I think we contract because we can control it. Expansion requires faith, in my opinion. Well, I think we contract because we're trying to control, if that makes sense. You know, whenever we're trying to control things, we're not allowing spirit to flow. See, because the divine, higher power, spirit, when we're in oneness, it flows. It comes through you. You know, people would ask me things like when I paint certain things, and I'm like, well, it just kind of comes through, you know, and when I get too much in my head, I have to like kind of readjust my, like, no, let me connect back. You know, Archangel Gabriel's the doer, the painter, and that helps me be back in the flow. So I have found for me, and if it works for you, Roger, it's perfectly okay. I'm not here to tell anybody they're wrong, but I have found whenever I'm trying to control something too much, I usually I'm not in the flow of the divine. Is that making sense, Roger? Hopefully it is. Because of course, I'm always trying to be helpful and help give you the blessings right here with this one, Archangel Gabriel. All right. So I'm going to put this book over here, and we're going to I'm going to actually try something different once. I'm going to actually try mixing some black here. Now, one of the things, if you guys, any of you are painters, and if you have an art thing that you're working on, please join me and try it, doing it too now with the sacred space of that's been brought through with doing the the flame and Palo Santo and the intention. So if you know anything about colors, if you're a painter at all, you know that what creates black is blue, yellow, and red. And you can buy a tube of black, but I don't usually buy a tube of black because it's like really black, black, black. I'm like, it's just like there's no what I would call life to it. And when I actually mix the black, it has more life to it. So I was guided to mix a little bit of black because I need it to put in the eyes of Archangel. I mean, not Archangel, the flying horse. So I was given guidance to mix some black. So mixing color sometimes can be meditative. Do you guys have anything that you do with your creative process? I mean, I find the whole creation of spirit guide portals is a spiritual practice for me because I'm always just doing my best to like receive the flow of the spirit guide, paint it. Oh, okay, Roger, we were on the same page. Cool. Oh, Becky, I don't think BKKI, am I saying that right, Becky? Oh, you're an energy artist too. I haven't seen your name before, so thank you for announcing yourself. Mary Helen, thank you for sharing that. How cool is that? That she was it was a airbrush artist. When I see people to do that, I'm always amazed how they can do it. And did she do like large murals on the wall or anything? I said she said she's doing black and white portraits, pictures. So I guess it was small. I've always thought of the airbrush painting as being something with done on like large like walls and stuff. I didn't know people could do it. That's very cool. Oh, and Becky, Great, Becky. Well, since this is your first time, Becky, this is a live I do every Thursday at 3:30 Eastern time. I don't know what time zone you're in. But, please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and you'll get reminded when I schedule it. Usually after each week, I schedule another one in. So, cool. So one of the things, I think I have too much yellow in this. It looks really greeny. Oh, thank you, Becky. Yeah. Where are you from, Becky? I think we've got New Jersey, Las Vegas. Mary Helen, I know you're from New Jersey. Christopher, I can't remember where you're from, Roger. I know you've told me that. Sometimes a woman comes from Hawaii. She hasn't announced herself today, so I don't know if she's here, but she might be here and just didn't announce herself. But so it's fun to know where people are from. One time, somebody was from India. I was like, "What time zone are you on?" I was like, "Isn't it like late there?" Oh, Northern California, where from? That's where I'm originally from. I'm originally from the Bay Area. Oh, Roger, you're from Barbados. Wow. So I wanted to do some little bit of black, just a little bit of black to put in like the eyes of the flying horse. At least that's what I was getting to do, was to kind of bring in the flying horse's eyes, Pegasus. So, and one of the things the reason why, like when I do this, there's so many shadows, it's because I have these daylight lamps that give me nice daylight light so that it's got like, so I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this, but. Oh, San Jose? Lake Almanor. Okay. Yeah, I was born on the East Bay side in Oakland, but then lived all over the Bay Area when I was there. Lived in I actually lived in San Jose for a little while, lived in Santa Clara, or Sunnyvale rather, Sunnyvale. And then I lived over in San Mateo, and then I went to the East Bay side and lived up in the Walnut Creek Concord area, lived up there for a while. Ooh, I'm going to leave it this way. This has a little bit of a purple hue. So you guys probably aren't going to see this, but if you can see, it looks black, but it's black with a purple hue to it. And that's why I can decide when I'm painting, do I want a purple hue with the black, or a greenish hue, or a bluish hue, or a reddish hue? And so I like to have the different colors so that it can be a different hue. Thanks, Becky, for the Pegasus. Yes, let me see, Mary Helen, mostly 8x10 black and white photos. She was commissioned to do a picture of wow, Elvis on a motorcycle. Wow, your mom, that's like being famous to me. Yes, Oakland, Becky, I was born there. My parents had us moved out of Oakland by the time I was a year old. So it's not like I actually knew Oakland. I grew up in a suburbs of Newark. Do you know where Newark is, Becky? It was it's surrounded by Fremont. That's where I grew up in like high school and all those things. So anyway, I got the little black then, and we're gonna start with the eyes. The interesting thing is at the Archangel Gabriel's wings. I was getting to work on those today too. I talked a little bit more than I usually do, so I don't know if I'm going to get to as much painting as I was originally thinking, just because I was talking more. But it's so love like doing the painting. Let's just take a moment, since I've been talking so much, and tune into the spirit guides energy. And tune into your own energy, they're saying, especially the Pegasus is talking about like tuning into your own energy, feeling the your own vibration. Pegasus is talking about that the importance of like getting in touch with your own energies, of knowing what you're feeling, what you're sensing. And he's talking about, the flying horse is talking about when you actually like get in tune with your own energies, your own knowingness. How life has more ease. It's one of the things that, remember in the past, one of the past lives, he talked about like being with spirit, and that's what put you in the flow and the ease. Like if you are in this with spirit, then you're gonna, like you can get on his back or her back and experience more ease in your life when you don't try to sorry, I was like doing two things at once. So he's, Pegasus is saying right there that he really wants you to focus on being in that flow, accepting, like being on the back of Pegasus. And the way you do that is by allowing yourself to sense what it is you're feeling, sensing, what's really going on with you. He says that's, again, the first step. Like in order to be able to shift, if you're on the contractive side, is how do you actually make friends with yourself. He says making friends with yourself, like these guys are friends. Like, I know that. He said, you're way too quiet for the city life. And yeah, I'm like, I used to like be someone who loved going to the city when I lived in the Bay Area. But yeah, I'm not so into the party life anymore. So I get that. Wow. Yes, we're definitely in the same area. Your dad worked in Fremont for years. Cool. Curious, since we're working on these spirit guides, does anybody themselves have a relationship with a form of a spirit guide? And if not, have you, I'm assuming at some level you've had curiosity about it if you're here, but maybe not. I'm curious. Anybody want to share? Like whether they work with a specific spirit guide themselves or have just wanted to connect with the spirit guide realm. Working on the fine details of things. Oh, Becky, you have spirit guides here with everything. Very cool. Sounds like we have some things in common. So I'm flying horses. I'm working on them is saying, does anybody have a question? I'm always surprised when they do that. Ah, Christopher, you put a lot to archangels. Very cool. Yeah, I have Archangel Michael, and I don't have. I thought I was working on the Raphael ones, but it actually was not that. But very cool. I did a Metatron for somebody who wanted their own personal spirit guide. Not that they wanted Metatron. That's who showed up for them. Whenever I do the spirit guides for people, it's a matter of what shows up. It's not like they're saying, "I want you to paint Metatron for me." But yeah, it's very cool with the angels. Oh, Becky, wow, you are definitely you working with Metatron for you got on here. Very cool. Yeah, I really only had I don't like get Metatron coming into my visions a lot. Archangel Gabriel's been coming in a lot. In fact, I have some another portal that I'll probably work on at some point of Archangel Gabriel. I have it drawn on a piece of paper, but it's not anywhere near ready to like paint. It was just a quick sketch to kind of remember what was happening for me. Becky, you have like a lot of sounds like you're really connected to the angels. I have a lot of Mother Mary. Mother Mary in all these different forms shows up for me in a lot. I've done an Our Lady of Guadalupe, and I have a whole wall of 9x12s that I've been doing. My wife channels Mother Mary, and she has these 54 forms of Mother Mary, and she asked me to create them, and I've been slowly working on them. I had some big lofty dream that I thought I could do maybe one a week, and that was like did not work. And that's the thing about the spiritual path is, you can get like little ideas sometimes, and you think, okay, let me try that. And then you realize like that's not working. Because when I was trying to do them once a week, one of the things is if someone's not like an artist, my wife would always ask me like, well, how do you know when your spirit guide's done? And I said, well, I can just feel it. Like I can feel it's done. And she's like, that just was foreign to her. She's like, I don't get that. Like, how do you feel that it's done? I'm like, you just do. Anybody, like if you're an artist, Becky, I wonder if you feel that way. Yeah, I just will feel like, okay, this portal, the spirit guide's done. And trying to do one a week was not letting me have that feeling. It was like, oh my God, the week's almost up and I'm not done yet. And obviously that was my ego coming in. So, you playing music, Christopher? Ah, very nice. I've been feeling called that I want anybody do any kind of devotional chanting, maybe Sanskrit chanting, or if it's maybe even in English, where you do like devotional chanting in your practices, your spiritual practices. I have a harmonium, and I go through periods of doing that and not doing it. And I have not been doing it much, but I've been doing it here and there. And I've been feeling kind of guided, like I want to do more of that, bringing the music aspect in. Because, part of about like connecting with the spirit guides, it's, so much it's vibration, energy. What does the vibration and energy feel like? Oh, you've been working with them right too, Vicky. Wow, I just can't believe all like the parallels that are going on here. I'm gonna stand up and look away at Pegasus and see the flying horse, see how they're looking. Because I forgot my glasses. One of the things is I have to look at it from a distance to see how it's looking. Ah, looking better, looking better. It's got a face now. Anybody see that? It's kind of far away for you, so you guys might not notice it so much. Maybe sometime I'll like zoom the camera in when I get it more done. Oops, sorry, got my little. I'm gonna do the wings a little bit more. And I'm gonna wait on the wings for Archangel Gabriel. So I'm curious, how many people? I hadn't seen anybody answer that. Are you willing to do what Archangel Gabriel said earlier and actually focus on, whoops, something great? Oh, no, thinks it's just white. About shifting your consciousness when you're looking at the lack to the what you actually want. Oh, thank you, Christopher. Yeah, it's funny because the detail like takes longer, and it seems like you're hardly putting any paint on there, but it's what brings it alive. It's what gives it life, is when you start to work on the fine detail, because it's those little things that make the portal actually come alive. And there's been times I've done things where I put something on and totally like thought it was a mistake, and then added to it and then went, oh, that's actually making it look better, So you add subtle little things and then you step back. And the stepping back when you paint, it's interesting to me because it's kind of like life, where I always tell everybody creating these spirit guide portals is like, I don't know if it's called a metaphor. I guess metaphor for life is because like you see your own reflection of like how your habits are. Like if you come from fear, if you have a habit of coming from fear, are you coming from fear in your painting or in the creation of it? But like in order for you to paint something and get a good perspective on it, you step back a lot. You step back and look at what does it look like from a distance. And when you do that in life, right? Sometimes you're too close to things and you feel confused or you don't know exactly what you want to do, and then you take a step back. And that's kind of what the spirit guides are here for. They want to help you take a step back. Not literal step back, but the idea of when you come from higher consciousness, it gets you to look at things differently. Yeah, exactly, Becky. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, willing and aware. Yeah, sometimes you gotta, like, if you're feeling confused, you gotta take a step back. You take a step back and look at things from a different perspective. And that's what you do with art. You create these. I create these spirit guide portals with, like with this one, the Archangel Gabriel and the flying horse, Pegasus, whatever you want to call him. And then I start to go, oh, I have to step back to see, like, what does it look like better? So I'm not quite so close to it. So that stepping back brings in a different consciousness. So one of the biggest things I learned too is if you're having a challenge with something and you maybe had something emotional happen, is, because we're physical beings, especially, sometimes spiritual seekers, spiritual souls, I know me, sometimes my first thing is to go to spirit, but sometimes I need the first thing to actually go out and move my body some, in the sense of go out for a walk in nature or do some yoga postures, because the one thing about yoga postures, I've mentioned it, but when you do yoga postures, we do them because yogis created attain these high levels of consciousness, and we do the postures to help bring that high level of consciousness out in us. So it's not about just the horse is looking good. The flying horse starting to come alive. Not alive yet, but coming alive. So so sometimes that perspective of what you need to do is do some yoga postures. Because if you have something that's really upsetting to you, it can be hard to get connected and meditate and get the higher consciousness by just sitting for some people. And I remember I used to live in the ashram in the spiritual community. And this woman, the thing about an ashram, a spiritual community, it's a microcosm of the macrocosm. And so all the things that exist in the world still exists in the spiritual community. That was like one of the big things I learned there, is that so there were still people who cheated on people and people who had affairs and things like that. It was like shocking to me when I first moved there, because I somehow thought that it would be different there. And a woman, her husband cheated on her and basically left her, but she kept trying to meditate it away, like meditate and feel better, and she just couldn't do it. She's like, I can't meditate. I'm just so upset. And I said, well, of course you're upset. You didn't think he would do something like that. And I said, but maybe it would help you more if you tried doing something like chanting or yoga. I said, because when we do something with our body, sometimes it helps us. And it can still help us shift our consciousness. It's about how do you shift your consciousness when something feels like so like life damaging. Okay. I see you guys have some comments here that I haven't seen. Let me see, come down here. I'm going to take off my glove here. Just so I could see it, see what you guys are doing, was talking about. Were there any questions? I don't know. Let's look. Oh, okay, Becky, that sounds cool. So agree with you, Becky. So I talk about, healing is one of the biggest things, Becky, on the spiritual path that a lot of mystics don't want to do. And I say, if you keep denying the fact that you have like an emotional wound or some trauma in your life or whatever. And when I say trauma, I want people to get, it was traumatic for you. A lot of times people will say, oh, I didn't have any trauma, but this and this happened in my life. And I'm like, yeah, but that if it was traumatic for you, then it's trauma. And so you have to be willing to look at it and go, what can I do to help myself let it go? Because it's not going to let you go deep if you keep trying to ignore that that's going on. So I think I shared this last time, one of the things is that, I have Mother of Healing. This is Holy Mary, Mother of Healing that I painted. And one of the things that she said, when I first saw this image, this vision come to me in meditation, and I said this last time, I'm going to share it again, because I'm getting guided to share it again, is that, I thought, oh my God, it's so dark. That's my little ego self thinking how black it was. But Mother of Healing said to me, I want you to make it dark because you have to be willing to go into the darkness to heal. In other words, the very thing we don't want to look at is the very thing you have to look at, So she was saying that you have to be really willing to do that. So yeah, it's one of the things when I work with my mentoring clients and such. I'm not a therapist or anything, but I let people know that there's a healing component to what I do because, you have to heal some things in order for you to actually grow to that next level of expansion. And that's sometimes very difficult for people to do. So. Ooh, can we believe it's almost 4:30 already? That like came by fast today, didn't it? That's probably because I talked a little more than I usually do. So, any questions or any of the for the spirit guides before we're going to wrap it up? I'm not wrapping it up yet, but I just wanted to give you guys a chance. Oh, yes, Becky, I do sell. I sell G clays. I call them high-end art reproductions. They're not all of them are on my website, but like the Mother of Healing is not on my website yet. But I actually have made the reproductions. I'm not as quick and efficient on getting things up on my website as I could be. So I do have some of them up there. And then my goal is in the next 6 months to be working on putting something up every single month because I have several new spirit guide portals that I haven't put up yet. So yes, if you go to deepaloo.com, in fact, let me put that up there for you. In fact, I think I might have it in a banner. Hang on. Let's see. Here we go. So there you go. That's, if you go there, deepaloo.com/sacred art, that's where my G clays are, that people can, if you want a reproduction, that you could go check it out. So yeah, Becky, go check them out. And again, like I said, if you see me show something here on the live and you have interest in it, let me know, because like I have another, no, I think Christ Consciousness is up there. I have many others that I've actually made that just aren't up there. You know, maybe somebody has requested that saw me somewhere, or me doing a spirit guide message, because I do a spirit guide message usually at least once a month on my YouTube channel that's pre-recorded. I tune into a spirit guide and put it up there, so for free. Also, just so people, anybody, if you haven't subscribed before, please subscribe. You know, I did made little art things, and turn on your notifications, because you know that way you'll know and hear about the live. And if you know of anybody who would be benefit from this, be a blessing in the world and share it with them. You know, and the last little thing, I love, like my little props I've made. Give me a thumbs up if you like what you see here, because it all helps my channel, helps, you know, YouTube go show it out to more people. Because one of the things that Archangel Gabriel and the Flying Horse told me about why they wanted me to do this live, because they gave me the download. I want you to do this live every week, and I want you to only create me on the live. So like I don't paint on this spirit guide portal all week until I come here and be with you guys. Is that it's about creating this community energy. And so one of the things that I want to do is I'm going to eventually be launching a community membership of basically mystics, creative mystics, who are looking to grow spiritually, and also people who want to step into their purpose. Because one of the things that Archangel Gabriel and all my spirit guides always talk about is about the importance of us stepping into our purpose. And they say purposes because you might have one purpose at one stage in your life, and then you get another one at a different stage, or maybe an expanded view of that purpose. So to check that out. So if you're interested in maybe joining the membership that I'm going to be launching in the future, check that out here too. It's deepaloo.com/membership-waiting-list. And if you get on that list, when I get to the point where I'm going to launch it, I'll send you an email letting you know. You also would get any announcements of when I let out my latest YouTube video, or any classes I'm offering, because I do different Connect to Your Spirit Guide classes at times. I just finished up Connect to Your Purpose Spirit Guide, and I've done Connect to Your Self-Love Spirit Guide. In fact, Connect to Your Self-Love Spirit Guide, that self-love and your purpose spirit guide, my spirit guides have said those are the two most important spirit guides you want to connect with. So if you guys have any connection and you know how to connect with your guides, connect with those, because they say, one, you got to love yourself before you're really going to be able to step into your purpose. And you have to do your purpose in order to like help transform the world, because it's about how do we bring more of this high spiritual vibration to the world, because, you know, we want to bring that tipping point to love and joy and peace and, you know, calmness and divine power and divine light and divine sound. And the one I love to share is divine wisdom, because it's about when you have that divine wisdom, you start to know how to apply those spiritual truths more deeply in your life. So, you know, let me go back to the comments, because I see there's more comments. Oh yeah, if the Mother of Healing, Becky, if you like that one, you have to. I have it. I just haven't gotten it on my website. So please send me a direct email. You can send it to me at deepaloo.com. In fact, I'll put that. I don't know if I have that in the little banners. Let me look. I don't think I do. I'll type it in here. This is if you're wanting the Mother of Healing, go ahead and send me an email. The price is, I think $44. Don't quote me on that for good, but it's something like that. So just so you know. Oh, Becky, yeah, I'd love to see you at the membership when I launch that. And I'm so happy too, Becky. We have so much in common. I can't believe it. She said, or the original, if you're selling that, I'd love the info. Yeah, I'm not selling the original because I use them. The thing about, oh, what is it? I'm sorry, Roger, I just saw this. What is the connection between the flying horse and Gabriel? So what happened was I got the vision of Archangel Gabriel and the flying horse, and it was in meditating. That's where all my visions come of the spirit guides, and they started flying towards me, and I was just like sitting quietly, but part of me was like in amazement because I'm like, okay, Archangel Gabriel has wings, so why is he on the flying horse? But I wasn't getting into that. It just was like I could feel that was coming up in me, and then I got the download that the flying horse says that, like you can get on my back, and that, even though you may have your own wings, that if you can get on the back of like a spiritual being, that it can make your life flow easier. And even though Archangel Gabriel could fly himself, like he's doing synergy to work with the flying horse so that his life, now he's not alive like we are, but his, he has a mission out there, or she has a mission out there. Some think Archangel Gabriel's a she. They really have no gender, just to let you know. But they show up as she or he because of what maybe you need. But that you can have that flow and ease by connecting to higher power, by creating community and synergy with another being and entity. And obviously for us human beings, it's about how do we connect and create that community with human beings so we're not out there alone on the physical plane, but also how do we connect with the spirit guides, the spirit. Is that making sense, Roger? Hopefully I answered your question. Let me just double check this here. Right, Roger. It eases Gabriel's load. That's exactly what it is. And no matter what kind of being you are, wouldn't we all like our load a little easier? And so the big message was like by working together, that there's more flow and ease. And that, again, the message, all things are possible. So when we can actually come into community, it becomes endless what is possible, because it's not just myself thinking little individually what I think I can do, which is usually we have limitations as a human being in our head. We think we're limited even though we're truly not. It's about how do we bring that community together so we really get in the energy, yes, this is possible. And the one thing about when you're stepping into wanting to grow spiritually, to go out and have an aspiration, like I have an aspiration, I want to be enlightened in this lifetime. If I run around and say that to everybody, there are some people who are like, who is she to think that? And I'm like, well, if you don't have the aspiration to be enlightened, it will never happen. So I clearly state that, but it's nice to have a community that's like, yes, yay, I'm glad that you have that aspiration. And the same thing with like creating the spirit guides and using creativity to grow spiritually. When you have other people around you that actually are like, yay, that helps the synergy effect. That helps the energy get better and stronger for you. And it helps quiet that doubting voice. I bet everyone on here probably has a doubting voice at times, right? I know I do. I have to how do I quiet that doubting voice when I'm in community that is of like-minded, that is supportive of what I'm wanting to do? That doubting voice quiets down. Yes, Becky, we all come together by expanding our wings. Oh, the grounded being, you're new. How do I choose colors to work with? I get guided what colors to use with the spirit guides. I also, in the vision, I often will see some colors, but sometimes when I come to the canvas, I tell people when I go to the canvas and I start to work on the spirit guide, because I invite them in. I know, grounded being, you weren't here at the beginning where I do the rituals and the bell ringing and the prayers and things that I do and the chants. I invite them, their energy, to guide me. So I get guided what colors to put on there. I actually don't have formulated in my head. It's one of the reasons why, as someone who creates these spirit guide portals, I use oil paints, because oil paints are very forgiving. I do not have this all planned out. I know people who have watercolors or do watercolor mediums. You have to really plan it out. Mine's not planned out. It's like being divinely guided down of what to do. The most I do is like this. I drew it on here in pencil beforehand. And sometimes I don't even do that with some spirit guides. With my heart chakra angel, I did not paint it on there. I just put a little line of where the center was and started painting. So it's different with every spirit guide. So let me read the rest of your question, the grounded being. Oh, thank you for loving my art too. I have not been asked to use specific colors. Well, I mean, do you mean from the spirit guide realm or from somebody who like does a commission with me who wants a personal spirit guide? Because I'm not quite sure what you mean by that question, grounded beings. If you could clarify that. I get guided by the spirit guide, what colors to use. And I do mix a lot of my own colors. I don't like go out. I don't have like 50 different colors of paint. I mix a lot from the primary colors and do little things. I have some tubes that I don't mix, but I do a lot of mixing. Yeah, I love that too. Let's see. Yeah, Becky, yeah, we all have that ego. Like button, yeah, I like that. Yeah, I know you did, Christopher. You did share. No one else did, though. That's why I was just putting a little plug out there. Yep, exactly, Becky. I higher guidance. Sometimes, and that higher guidance comes in differently. Sometimes I can just feel like I'm supposed to do something. Sometimes I'm getting like a download to do this certain thing. So it's different every time. Oh, yes, I do get it from the spirit guides all the time. In fact, that's how I create it all, is from the spirit guides. Is they give me the guidance of what to do, and I get feelings from them too. And that's the thing, is how does your spirit guide communicate with you? Maybe they're going to talk about that next week. I don't know. We'll see. All right. So we're going to be on next week, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're still in daylight savings time, so Eastern daylight saving time. And we will see you then. Okay. I don't think there's any last questions, right? Yes, Becky. That's what I didn't even know it could happen, and it started happening for me. Yes. So thank you so much. You know what? You guys are so much fun. Having you show up, like, just brightens my day, allows me to let the messages of Archangel Gabriel and the Flying Horse come through. And I so much appreciate each and every one of you. And I look forward to seeing you next week. All right. I'm just going to check one last time for any last questions. Oh, sure. The grounded being. I can share that before I get off. About how Paramahansa Yogananda came to being. When I first started going to the art studio and actually learning how to paint, I started paint. And, when they teach you how to paint, they have you do things like oranges and apples, but it's necessary because it teaches you about value and shade and everything. But I had this desire when I finally was going to paint my first person, like a person. I thought, I want to paint Yogananda, because I've read Autobiography of a Yogi. I'm a disciple of his too. I lived in an ashram that was based in his teachings. And I was like, I want to paint I want to paint Yogananda. And I want that when I'm done with the painting, that people feel his vibration and his power and his energy, and then they feel blessed by him. That was my intention. And it was all inside of me. It came like in a download in meditation, like, this is what I want to do. And I thought it was me saying I wanted to do it. But what I realize now is it was the spirit guides coming to me, but that I wasn't seeing them because I wasn't visual when I first started on the spiritual path. I'd been on it for many years, but I'm an empath. So I never saw visions. People would guide me in meditations. I would never, ever see anything. They'd say, see the golden ball of light, wouldn't see a thing. So I wanted to paint Yogananda, so that it felt like a portal, like people could feel like they're being blessed by him. And so I started painting him, and I would paint him, and I would listen to his voice in my head while he was chanting and stuff. And I would do prayers and own the canvas, and had all this intention that people would feel his vibration, his blessings when he was done. And when I got him done, at that time I painted in an art studio with other artists. And one of my fellow art studio members there came by and gave me a thumbs up. Hey, Yogananda's in the house, and I'm like, oh, I guess it looks pretty good. But that's not the amazing part of the story. I hung Yogananda up to dry because oil paints take a long time to dry. And I came back a week later, and I went into the art studio, And some woman, and I'm looking at Yogananda, and some woman comes up to me and says, "Are you the one who painted Yogananda?" A woman I'd never seen before, never seen Merit Student, not once. And I said, "Oh, yes, I am." And she goes, "Oh, I just have to tell you, when I look at this painting, I feel his energy and vibration, and I feel like I'm being blessed by him. And I know I'm a disciple of Yogananda's." And on the outside, I went, "Oh, thank you." But on the inside, I'm like, "Oh my God, it worked, it worked, it worked, it worked." And that was the beginning of me creating spirit guide portals. And then I decided to do it with Our Lady of Guadalupe, had a similar experience. And then I started to get visions in meditation. And that's when it just started to open up all of my spiritual gifts. I started to get visions, started to get downloads from them. I started to create them into portals. And so it was, for me, one of the most amazing things that happened. And that's when I started to connect, the importance of bringing creativity and spiritual practices together. Because from my experience, that's what opened up my gifts. And it's part of like why I want to share all this, because I want more and more people to have their gifts open up for them. So, but thank you for asking me that, the Granite Bean. I really appreciate it. Oh, not bugging at all. I want people. I always ask people if they have questions to ask. Oh, you're welcome, Christopher, about the Yogananda book. Yes, I truly believe, everything's energy. If everyone saw Becky's comment about it's artwork is encoded with light frequencies, and I say everything's energy. And so, like when I create spirit guide portals, I want to have my energy be in a good place, because I know everything I'm doing is infusing energy into that. Everything that's coming through me is infusing energy into this portal. And so, and think about it in your life. See, remember I talked to you about this is all a metaphor. Everything the spirit guides have me share with you, they don't want you just to keep it in the sphere of just what you're creating, like this spirit guide portal, but how can it apply to your life? How can you take a step back in life and look at something if you see things aren't quite going the way you want? So, all right. All righty. Well, I will see you all next week, Thursday, 3:30. Take care. Blessings. Have a miraculous week. Oh, and I'm looking to see if you guys practice, if you see yourself on the contractive, going to the expansive. Remember, if you're looking at what you don't want, what you didn't do, what you haven't done, to switch it. Look at what you have done, what you do like. Okay? All righty. You guys take care. Blessings. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Mary Helen.